Hi everyone, you're watching the Skywatch Media news channel, and here's what's happening for the week of September 17th, 2018. A strange event took place at the top of the Sacramento Mountains that may be directly related to solar activity, which has become a government security issue. On September 6th, the National Solar Observatory in Sunspot, New Mexico, was mysteriously evacuated and remained vacated until September 17th. The unexplained closure of the facility coincides with a geomagnetic storm which hit the Earth during the unexpected closure of the observatory in New Mexico. Black Hawk helicopters were seen circling the facility, along with agents from the FBI, who remained tight-lipped about the reason for the closure, stating only that it was a security issue and that the evacuation was initiated as a precautionary measure. Even local law enforcement were kept in the dark about why the facility was shut down. Something very odd took place at the Solar Observatory, which happens to be managed by a university research group that specializes in astronomical observation. For 10 days, Black Hawk helicopters were circling overhead. A group of unidentified people were gathered around antennas, and work crews were seen atop towers. And yet no one said a word about why government agents had closed down the facility. Anyone who happened to be near the area, or who may have been a bit inquisitive, were asked to leave. The unexplained event sparked a great deal of controversy, since it happened near the time that scientists had warned that a huge hole had opened up in the sun's corona that had the potential to affect satellites as well as sensitive equipment that is located on the Earth's surface. The charged magnetic particles from a geomagnetic storm can interfere with GPS systems and radio signals, and they can also affect aircraft in flight by disturbing the Earth's magnetic field. Although the observatory reopened on September 17th, the specific cause of the shutdown is still unknown to the public. As a point of reference, the Sunspot Solar Observatory in New Mexico contains a research telescope that is used to observe the sun, to observe solar activity as it takes place, and the effects of solar activity on the Earth. Before Hurricane Florence made landfall on the Outer Banks of North Carolina on September 14th, the National Weather Service had predicted that the storm would be catastrophic in terms of the amount of rainfall and the potential for historical flooding. And in that respect, this storm fulfilled all of the expectations that had been forecast. What we have learned from previous storms, such as Harvey, which devastated southeast Texas in August of 2017, is that these storms carry tremendous amounts of moisture as they come ashore, the consequences of which can be seen in the flood devastation that is left in their wake. As the Earth's atmosphere heats up, the storms become more intense and much more dangerous. And this is a trend that will continue as climate change becomes the dominant factor in our future. Many things happen in the blink of an eye, as residents of North and South Carolina can attest to. Hurricane Florence was, by all accounts, the most destructive storm of the 2018 Atlantic hurricane season. If you include the Outer Banks of the storm, it would be 4 times as large as the state of Ohio, measuring more than 400 miles in width. The eye of Florence was a sight to behold as a Category 4 storm churning its way towards the Outer Banks of the Carolinas on September 12th. Unlike Typhoon Jebi, whose powerful winds devastated western Japan earlier in the month, this storm was a rainmaker, dropping as much as 40 inches of rain in parts of North Carolina, areas that are not accustomed to or prepared for this much rainfall in such a short period of time. What was once calm and bustling communities were suddenly ravaged by the relentless rain and wind of Florence. On September 16th, Super Typhoon Mangkhut inundated urban Hong Kong and parts of Southeast Asia, outpacing Florence as the mightiest and deadliest storm of 2018. The typhoon left a swath of damaged buildings and scores of injuries in Hong Kong before churning across the southern coast of China. Less than 24 hours earlier, it ravaged the northern Philippines and left dozens buried in landslides. More than 6 million people have been affected by the impact of this storm. While the other side of the world was dealing with the destructive power of Hurricane Florence as it drenched the Carolinas with several feet of rain, Typhoon Mangkhut hurled into southern China in the densely populated province of Guangdong. Meteorologists have called this typhoon the world's most powerful storm of 2018, with a span as wide as 550 miles and wind gusts that hit 200 miles per hour while churning in the Pacific. At its peak, the typhoon was equivalent to a Category 5 hurricane. The typhoon accelerated as it crossed the South China Sea, landing a nearly direct hit on Hong Kong. Images of shattered windows, washed-out roads, pedestrians clinging for life, or battling floodwaters were etched into the minds of many observers who watched in fear as the storm made landfall. Immense winds caused storm surge as high as 11 feet in Victoria Harbor, which separates Hong Kong Island from the metropolitan city. The complete destructiveness of this storm was something that many residents had never witnessed in their lifetime. The typhoon eventually headed toward the Pearl River estuary in Guangdong, where a cluster of fast-growing cities are considered particularly prone to climate change. As we look to the sky, gaze out onto the universe and behold its glory. Observe the stars that number in the millions, all of them twinkling in the night sky, conveying a message of unity. Although the stars may seem like tiny specks in the vastness of space, they are and will always be a part of the nature of our existence. Thanks for watching.